Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to continue with our One Piece chapter leaks, and this is going to be about chapter 1050, now that we have some leak pages and the translation of a few lines, and we have a bit more information about the events that are taking place in this chapter. Please remember that these are only leaks, and so the translations of lines may not be correct or may not even be the actual phrases that are used in the official, and so they're just kind of being used to make this easier to understand. Chapter 1050 is named Honor, and it has Germa 66 on the cover, and it's showing that Ichiji and Raiju have appeared in Whole Cake Island to help their brothers escape and defeat Big Mom's pirates, and in the background there seems to be a lot of destruction happening. But before we go any further, if you're new to the channel, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like, or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really motivates us to make more content, and if you want to help us out in a bigger way, consider sharing the video or the channel with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So following the Germa cover story, the chapter opens with Kaido, still in his dragon form, lying in an unconscious in a crater. And we see that his smoke is rising from his body, and it's kind of causing him to shift back to his human form. Next, we see someone coming in very, very fast and running. And we see that it's Yamato, who is trying to run towards Luffy to catch him because he's unconscious and falling from the sky. And Yamato, while they're running towards Luffy, call out his name. On the same page, we see that Kaido and Big Mom fell near the volcano, which caused them to create these large cracks in the ground, and we see their bodies starting to sink inside of the magma of the volcano. On the next page, we see Yamato manages to catch Luffy from falling, and she's smiling while looking at it. And then we see a picture change to the citizens of Wano celebrating, still really not knowing what had just been happening near them, and Yamato shouting at Luffy and Momonosuke, saying that they were just absolutely amazing. After that, we go to the capital, and we're watching the fire festival that was about to end. And Toko, who is near Tengu, starts talking with him, saying that his father was someone who had great status within Wano. She goes on to say that she knew that her father would lose his life if he were captured by Kaido's pirates. But even knowing this, he gave himself up to his enemies, and soon after questions him as to why her father had done this. Tengu answers her, and he says that Yasui gave Wano a new chance, and if he had not given himself up at that moment, all the lamps of hope would have gone out after everything that had been built up over the last 20 years, and it would all have just disappeared. So he had given his life for the good of the nation. We then have a quick flashback of Toko and Yasui, where Toko is laughing a lot as Yasui asks her if she'd eaten a fruit, referring to the smile fruit, and then he asks Toko to give him the rest of the fruit. The flashback ends and we return to Toko and Hitetsu's conversation, and he tells her that her father did all this so that she could live happily. And Hitetsu goes on to say that in the future that they would work for her, but before completing the sentence, Toko interrupts him while asking if he would work for her. Hitetsu of course agrees and asks Toko if she wishes to change the message that she had left on the lantern, and Hitetsu begins to cry, saying that this phrase of hers for a samurai is an honor. Then we see Toko release her lantern. We see written on it saying, "Dad, I miss you, thank you." And as her lantern takes to the sky, we see several others also go on. Lanterns in which carry wishes and memories and hope from each citizen of Wano. We then move to the top of Onigashimi's skull, where we see Nekomamushi looking at the lanterns flying up in the distance, and then looks down and tells all the people inside the dome that Kaido was sent to the depths of the earth by Luffy's hands. He then spots Yamato and asks her if the fall of Onigashima was prevented by the great dragon that Momonosuke had become, and Yamato confirms. The samurai who were listening to the conversation inside Onigashima wonder if that dragon really was Momonosuke. You see, none of the samurai may have actually known that Momonosuke possessed the power of a devil fruit. Now, Nekomamushi then begins to make a speech saying that it had been 20 years since that fateful day in which Odin lost his life, and most of his allies also had lost their lives. But this new fight came about with the idea of avenging everything Kaido and Orochi did to Odin. And after so many years of waiting, they had finally achieved the victory that they had always dreamed of. After saying that, all the samurai start celebrating, and they start saying that they had knocked down 2 Yonko into the lava, and say that they didn't expect to get out of this fight alive because of such powerful enemies that they had been facing. Even Apu seems to be amazed that Luffy was able to defeat Kaido. But apparently Kid and Law are not so happy because they seem a little nervous, wondering how they just pulled off this victory. Meanwhile, we see Luffy's allies celebrate. Nami and Tama dancing while Marco is behind them with a smile. The swordsmen are all celebrating for this victory. However, even though seems to be victorious, this was not the end. The scene then shifts to Usopp and Frankie, who are carrying wounded people and screaming that they needed help and needed to get them treated. And we see Chopper and Miyagi starting to work as a team to get everyone healed and whatever care that they can provide. We then go to a scene with Momonosuke, where he is laying on the ground but now conscious and starts talking to Zenitsu Daisha, who is still approaching Wano. And Momo asks the big elephant if he had been listening to him. Momonosuke says that he had thought about it a lot. Then, Momonosuke says that opening the borders of Wano would still have to wait. Zanusha says that she understands his wish, and that she would have no doubt on Momonosuke's words because he would be willing to sacrifice his life to obey his words. Momonosuke then apologizes to Zanisha. The conversation ends quickly because it feels something strange. And then there's an earthquake happening. And inside Onigashima, there are still beast pirates that do not want to give up this battle. The remnants of the beast pirates attack, saying that there's no way Kaido could have lost. And they're part of a Yonko crew, so they couldn't give up. And Frankie waits to fight them, but Brooks says that he had no more strength. But Yamato appears on the scene and tells the beast pirates to stop this fight because there was no more reason to fight. Kaido had actually been defeated, and Yamato says that the only true leader is the one who had stopped the fall of Onigashima, referring, of course, to Momonosuke. Beast pirates say that Yamato, of course, is on the side of the enemies, so she would have to be stopped. But Yamato replies and says that thanks to Momonosuke, they had been saved. But if they still wanted to fight, Yamato would personally take them out. Then everyone feels an earthquake come, and they see the bottom of the magma chamber. Kaido and Big Mom are inside the lava. And even all the way to Udon Prison in the mines, the prisoners there are able to feel the earthquake. And Babanuki, who is finding this earthquake strange, hears one of his allies saying, "Look to the sea." The next panel shows a great amount of smoke rising from the sea, and a big, large explosion of lava takes place. And Babanuki observes that underwater volcano has erupted, and the citizens of Wano are terrified because they do not have any clue why this volcano was just reactivated. Momonosuke approaches the citizen of Wano in his dragon form, telling them not to worry because it wasn't a crisis. But of course, the citizens think the dragon is just Kaido and not Momonosuke. The citizens ask, why is he there? This was their only day of any freedom. And Momonosuke gets to the ground and says that it wasn't Kaido. Momonosuke says that this eruption was the curtains of Kaido's empire closing. Now, a new era would begin in Wano. Without understanding anything, the citizens of Wano begin to observe what was happening, and that this big dragon is disappearing, leaving only a large and dense cloud of dust and smoke in the air. In the same place where the dragon had been, the silhouettes of some people appear, and everyone's surprised, thinking it was a ghost of some kind. But as the smoke clears a little, it's possible to see Hiyori. The citizens are shocked and call her Komurasaki, and they say that it's impossible because she had just had a funeral not long ago, that this could only be a dream, but her beauty was something that was definitely real. We then see Denjiro's subordinates asking him what had happened to his beautiful hair, but Denjiro replies that it's a long story, and he had something more important to say. Denjiro then points towards Momonosuke, saying that he was the new shogun of Wano, and that's how we see the chapter end. Just as the citizens are finishing the flower festival, we finally see the arrival and the end of Kaido and Orochi, and a new dawn as the sun rises. So hopefully in the next chapter, we'll finally get to see Momonosuke in his human adult appearance. Now it could be that since Momonosuke is the new ruler of Wano, perhaps the beast pirates might obey him because Yamato is basically going to order them to do so. And meanwhile, we still see that they're straw hats that are resting and needing to get some healing done. Of course, all things considered, really Luffy and Zoro are probably in the worst state and are still unconscious because of the intense fights that they each had. But at least it seems for now that they're not really in danger of losing their lives. Now what remains is to wait for the next chapters so we can see how all of this ends to the Yonkos and how we will see Wano moving forward as we read. So there you have it, friends. Those are our full leaks for chapter 1050. So for all of you, as we wrap up our video, I want to thank you all so much for watching all the way up to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, if you made it this far, give us a like or maybe hit that subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see y'all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.